Hey, this is Tuan Aditya from LightHaven. Today we are going to be talking about using other parts of the blade apart from just the edge. Now the Filipino martial art that I do, Pikiti Shakali, is primarily known as a blade art, right? So I am slashing a lot and I am thrusting with the tip. So slashing with the edge, thrusting with the tip. But there are times when I will use the back of the blade, and there are times when I will also use the side of the blade, this side or this side. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 3 combinations that use the back of the blade, the side of the blade, and use the tip of the blade in slightly unorthodox ways. Each of these combinations are going to be made up of 3 attacks. They're all going to start with your high forehand or your angle 1. So I'm going to be using open triangle the entire time. And the first combination I'm going to do, in fact every combination that I'm going to do, is going to start with a really simple angle 1. Now I'm using a training blade here, so you can clearly see where the edge is, clearly see where the back is, clearly see where the sides are. So you know when I'm using what, and you can clearly see where the tip is. So I'm cutting angle 1 with the edge, and now as I come back from this backhand side back to the forehand side, I'm going to use the back of the blade. It's going to be almost like a parry, right? But the back of the blade. If you are using a stick, then where these knuckles are is where my edge is. So when I'm coming back using the back of the blade, you will see these knuckles are turned away. When I'm pointing my finger, that's where the edge is. So I'm using the back of the blade. So again, I go angle 1, I use the back of the blade to parry, and then I'm going to come with an angle 2. Other side, 1, back of the blade, 2. 1, so I'm going 1 to 7 using the back of the blade, and then I'm coming around so that I can go 11 to 5, and then I start again 1 to 7, back of the blade, 11 to 5. The second combination also starts with an angle 1, but this time I'm going to go broken angle 1 and I pull it back. The next I do what we call a florete. I'm going to parry with the side of the blade and then cut. Right, so again I'm using the side this time. Earlier I used the back, here now I'm using the side. I'm slapping down my opponent's weapon and coming around and cutting. So I go broken, florete, angle 2. Broken, I just hit that 1 o'clock, slap. So please be aware of where the edge is, so you know where the side is. My edge is facing there, but when I'm cutting, my edge is obviously facing in the correct direction. Broken, florete, angle 2. Broken, florete, angle 2. Once from the side, broken, florete, angle 2. Broken, florete, angle 2. The florete is a twirl that happens somewhere in front of my upper body. Don't let it happen here. The idea is that an attack is coming from there. I'm slapping the attack away with the side of my blade and then cutting the hand as the hand travels through. So make sure that the twirl with the wrist happens at the correct place. What does not happen, I will use a stick for this. What does not happen is that my hand will not open up like this, because you're going to be making contact with your opponent's weapon. And if my hand's open, my stick's going to fly or my sword's going to fly out of my hand. So instead, make sure it's a movement with the whole wrist and the hands do not open like this. In Pikiti, we don't open our hands like this ever. It's a movement of the wrist, and make sure that even though you started with the side, so see where my edge is, I'm slapping with the side. When I start to cut, my edge now comes back on target and in alignment. The last combination is also going to start with an angle 1, but it's going to be a mixture of broken and fluid, in that I'm no longer just coming here, I'm cutting all the way down to 7 o'clock. But instead of having a follow through like I would for a normal fluid slash, I'm going to return with a thrust. So I'm going 1 to 7, and now from here I'm going to return with a thrust, and for that I'm going to align my tip, and the thrust is going to come from 7 back to 1, reverse thrust, and then angle 2. 11 to 5. This is all of these clock face numbers are if you're on your right hand. When you go on your left hand, they're going to reverse, but we'll come to that in a bit. So again, I go angle 1, reverse thrust, angle 2, angle 1, reverse thrust, angle 2. The reverse thrust is not this. I am not extending my arm and my wrist away from me in this way. I am just thrusting literally back from 7 o'clock back up to 1 o'clock and bringing it back to my shoulder. Here it's up to you whether you want to touch the shoulder or not, or whether you want to simply go from here directly to the angle 2. You can touch the shoulder and go to the angle 2, but some people feel it's a little bit unnatural, especially if you're not used to the movement. Some people feel like they can hit their ear or hit their neck. So you can go directly from here itself for that angle 2. That's up to you. Just remember that when the first slash, the punyo or the hilt comes in front of your opposite hip. You're not coming in front of your groin, opposite hip. And then it's a reverse thrust. It's not a straight thrust. This is what will feel natural, but this is not what we're doing. It's a reverse thrust, and then align your edge for the last slash. On our left hand, the clock faces are going to be reversed. So I'm going to go 11. The first one is going to be 11 to 5. Use the back of the blade 1 to 7 for that angle 2. The second one is again going to be 11 o'clock broken, then florete, but from 11 to 5 is where the cut's going to happen, and angle 2 is going to be 1 to 7. And the third one again is going to be 11 to 5 o'clock in front of my opposite hip, reverse thrust 5 to 11 o'clock, angle 2 on my left hand is going to be 1 to 7 o'clock. So don't get confused with the clock faces. You make sure that your edge is aligned, the sides are aligned, the back is aligned, the tip is aligned, depending on which of the combinations you're doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. If you have anything to add, any questions, please leave all of that in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the channel. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. A huge thank you to all of our patrons over on our Patreon page and all of our YouTube members here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for your support. Lastly, thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video.